Welcome to the A Train Show. And now here's your host, the A Train, Arlington Lane.
Welcome to this humble abode, the A Train Show, the A Train, Arlington Lane. Back again for another great edition of the show. We are always on Fuel Sports Network. Make sure that you find us on your Roku TV, Amazon. No, we're not powered by Gateway City Sports anymore, but make sure you find them on your different devices. All right. Today's Whatever Wednesday. It's going to be whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to discuss, whatever I'm going to discuss. You can always join in on the conversation. You can always find us at fuelsportsnetwork.com as well. We're live there. I think the first thing I want to discuss on the show today is about the Negro League integration into Major League Baseball. I think that is something special for Major League Baseball. I think that is something for those guys that did not even get a chance to play in Major League Baseball. And there was something that I had came across yesterday on one Tyrus Raymond Cobb. But before I get into that, thankful to our sponsors over at McDougal Bats, over at True Victory Apparel, over at W Energy Powder and Just Meat Jerky. Okay. So I seen yesterday that they were going to add the Negro League stats to Major League Baseball. And with that being stated, some records are now being broken. One in particular that was the major stat was the batting average. And that's now going to be held by Josh Gibson, considered by many one of the greatest home run hitters to ever play the game. But when I looked at the stats, you can go to any area like baseball-reference. You can check out their stats there. He's going to hold the all-time batting average career-wise at 372. And it was trending yesterday that about Ty Cobb. And Ty Cobb was, for some reason, and I was a part of that, known as a racist. And there was an article that was spoken about it. It was stating that Ty Cobb wasn't a racist. He was actually for the Negro American, as it was stated in the article. And in this article, saying that he wasn't, it wasn't until 1952, so about 9 years before his life ended in 1961, he was a believer in the Negro American and wanted them to, he believed that they should be a part of America and not the 3/5 rule that was spoken about. He also was a big fan of the Negro League players, Oscar Charleston, Josh Gibson. Wondered why they weren't playing in Major League Baseball, but he had never spoke about it publicly until later in his life. If you ever seen the movie Cobb with Tommy Lee Jones, and this was about 30 years ago, the movie depicted him as a racist. And from what was stated in that article, I have to find it. And I'll make sure if I don't have it today, I'll present it on Friday. In that article, it was stated there that he wasn't a racist. He was for the players, and that his biographer at the time trashed him because of some misinformation. So, yeah, the person that was writing about Ty Cobb didn't like him pretty much. And so he trashed him and depicted him as a racist. But I say that because a lot of people went online and was like, well, now a racist is now second all time. And I'm like, if this article, what's stated is true, then we're going to have to dismiss a lot of stuff about him. But this is about the players themselves, like Josh Gibson, Oscar Charleston, of course, Satchel Paige. They're getting into the record books now. And I was actually going back looking at the career records. Charleston will be third all time at 365. Turkey Stearns will be at 348. He'll be eighth all time. So we got three brothers already in the top 10. So grateful enough for Major League Baseball to acknowledge these people, for them being able to now be on a bigger showcase and that they'd be celebrated. I kind of miss the days when they used to wear the jerseys and stuff. Like St. Louis would wear the St. Louis Stars. The Nationals will wear the Homestead Grays uniforms. I hope they start bringing that back into play. Of course, they have always honored Jackie Robinson, especially over the last almost 30 years now. They've done it since 1997. Of course, now they honored Hank Aaron with his stature, especially over the last 25 years now with the Hank Aaron Award, and they honored 715. It's interesting to see how this thing kind of plays out. I'm very proud of it. I don't want to dig too deep into it, but congratulations to the family of Josh Gibson. All those families that are represented by those Negro League players. One day I'll get into all those stats and we'll definitely touch on it and see who's the best player of all time now. Because now you have to integrate those guys into the foray. And Josh Gibson, by many, was considered one of the greatest hitters to ever live and ever play the game. And he was a catcher. So, yeah, that's definitely something to take forward into. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the NBA playoffs. I want to get into that a little bit. And then definitely want to talk some wrestling. So I said, this is a whatever episode, whatever you want to touch on. And this is the show for you today. So we're going to come back with more of the show. We'll be right back.
Houston, we've triumphed. I've made it back to Earth with the cargo intact. The game-changing, time-sensitive payload is none other than the revolutionary energy flavor we've all been waiting for. Introducing Merc Mayhem Cherry Limeade. Merc Clan played a crucial role in securing this energy flavor, and together we've unlocked the future of power. Merc Mayhem is not just a drink, it's a statement, a fusion of relentless energy and bold flavor. The secret is out. Merc Mayhem is set to redefine the energy landscape, leaving ordinary drinks in its cosmic dust. Get ready for a taste explosion that matches Merc Clan's unparalleled power. Join the revolution, and let's unleash Merc Mayhem upon the world. Astronaut M signing off.
Forget the money and fame. Stay ready, making sure that they'll remember my name. I got a hunger inside. When the numbers are tied, yo, I'ma turn it up a level, never will be denied.
Back on this edition of the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. Hey, folks, make sure that you go to McDougal Bats. Make sure you put in the referral code Fuel Sports Network. Strongest wood bat ever made. You go to McDougalBats.com. All right. I want to touch in a little bit on the NBA playoffs. First off, big ups to the Boston Celtics. They did what they were supposed to do. They knocked off the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers could not hold on to any lead during the series, and they had three different lead changes, 3 different leads, big leads, and they lost them all at critical moments during the game. So Boston is back in the NBA Finals for the second time in 3 years. A lot of people are hoping that Dallas was going to close it out last night, and they did not. They did not. Minnesota was given life. And in my opinion right there, I'm like, you should have went ahead and just ended it. Should have went ahead and just ended. What Derek Lively was the reason why you couldn't end that series? Because when you give life for a team, of course, you also know that that's going to be life given in that locker room. And granted, Karl Anthony Towns has been, I guess that's the best way to put it, right? And so yesterday he fouled out, though, in 29 minutes, but he scored like 25 points. Yeah, kudos to Jason Tatum. A lot of people in St. Louis are very ecstatic and happy about that, as they should be. I was looking forward for Dallas because of the president of basketball operations, Kalia Collier. That'd be a great little inside St. Louis rivalry for that reason. But a lot of people want to see Kyrie versus Boston, and they want to see Luka versus Kristaps Porzingis, which would be a one-of-a-kind matchup because Porzingis was at one point a teammate of Luka Doncic. So that would be a great storyline. However, it would be good for – I don't mind if you heard the music. I want to see some chaos in these NBA playoffs. Now that Minnesota has won, it just seems only fitting that they go ahead and win at least 2 more. So that way we can get to a game 7. And June 6th is when the NBA Finals will begin. So now that they won a game and Dallas didn't close them out, it just seems only fitting that it just seems only fitting that we get an NBA final, or we get a game 7. I want a game 7 now. I don't want to see anything less. That means Minnesota's got to do their job when they get back to Minnesota, and that game is tomorrow in Minnesota. That place is going to be rocking, and you already know anytime you give life to a team, that inspires them. And all you had to do was keep the foot on their necks. Keep that foot on their neck. They did not. You know, Kyrie is going to be is going to want some revenge and is going to want to close it out in Minnesota. If I want some chaos, get me Scott Foster. For real, get me Scott Foster for this game. I don't know if that'll be in Minnesota's favor, but you know, and Tony Brothers. Listen, a lot of people are going ham on Tony Brothers. That Tony Brothers is making this series more about him than he is about the game itself. And you know, without shadow of a doubt, if y'all have not seen the Netflix documentary on Tim Donaghy, you got to see it. I'm not implying anything that Tony Brothers is doing so, but Tony is making this series about himself with these calls. And it's ugly. These are ugly calls, man. Like come on, man. This is getting out of control. With having like this shouldn't even be about you. I also need referees and umpires after controversial calls. You got to talk about it. You can lie to me or you can tell me the truth. You can BS your way through it, but you gotta open up and say something. Like there should not be any reason why these umpires and referees can make these weird BS calls and not give a reason for why they did it. Like that has to be known. Like, I don't care, man. Just get 10, 15 minutes. It's all you get. You ask questions and you come in like before the players and coaches come in, the refs gotta get 10, 15. Serious. I'm so serious. They gotta explain. You gotta explain yourself. Explain yourself to me right now. Why did you make that silly call? Or don't call it silly? Or what was the purpose of this call with such and such time during the game or at this moment in the game? Because I want to know their thought process. When you put something out like that, when you make a call like that and it gets a crazy reaction, or even when the broadcasters themselves have a reaction to it, like, you got to explain yourself. You see the magnitude. I understand you feel like you have to have this mentality that's tough and you can't let nobody break you. But at the same time, man, what was the thought process when this call was made? Case in point, switch gears a little bit, but come back to it. Angel Hernandez. For a long time, I've been on social media about this man. Angel Hernandez just walked away from Major League Baseball. And I want to know what it took to get to this point. A lot of people praise the fact, including myself, that Angel Hernandez is gone, that he gone ahead and walked away from the game. I want to know who was in his ear saying, hey, all right, dude, it's time to hang it up. Because you can go anywhere online, YouTube, you can go to Twitter. They'll have a numerous amount of bad calls that man made. And I want to add two more people to this mix. Las Diaz and CB Bucknor. They can get their walking papers too. Head off into the sunset. Vacation is awaiting. Cancun on 3. Because I'm like, oh my God, what possessed? I really want to know. I really want to know how in the world did we get here when it came to Angel Hernandez all of a sudden dropping and retiring. I'm thinking for the longest time, I believed that Angel had something on Major League Baseball. No, Sabrina, this is not the Angel Hernandez that used to be a player. This is an umpire. This is a whole umpire. When the game is in the hands of the umpires, and he would make strike calls that just was like a grandmother or a baby would know that that's not a strike. A grandfather, old person, young person, they would know that's not a strike. Even they would be yelling at Angel Hernandez. But he had something on Major League Baseball, had to be, for why he never got a pink slip. He's holding something. And how he just kind of got away. You know, he got away easy by saying I up and retired. If that's the case, then Las Diaz and Bucknor can do the same, because they follow along that same path as Angel Hernandez. Now, Angel Hernandez has been considered the worst of the bunch. But man, have you watched a CB Buckner game or a Laz Diaz game? They will make it about themselves. You're not going to show me up. You're not going to come in my face. What's going on, Wyatt? You're not going to go back to your dugout. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I'm calling this game, and that's that. And then there are other umpires that have been doing the same. You're not going to show me up. Youngsters, umpires that are younger than the managers that will show up. But they're doing that to say, hey, I'm running this ship, and you're not coming out here to bully me. And a little reason I understand that, because you want to make sure you control the game, but also at the same time, you want to call the game fair. And so where we're headed towards is robotic umpires. And I want to see what that looks like. I really want to see what that looks like. Or something artificially intelligent with the strike zone. Like, can we build like a floating strike zone like you see on television? Like, come on, man. This is getting outrageous. Like, the umpires and these referees don't need to be stealing the show here. That's like another spring football league that's also dealing with that type of issue as well. That's currently on TV, and they show their games every Saturday and Sunday. Oh, okay. Stop showing them up, man. Like, this ain't about you. This is about calling the game fair. If y'all playing a little money on the side, you better make sure that nobody find out what y'all doing behind the scenes. Oh, that's so sweet. Dirty's great. Or Dritty. He's great, by the way. All right. I'm going to take a time out right here. And when I come back, we're going to talk a bit more on the sports in the world. What you say, Cody?
What do you guys want to talk about?
We're going to talk some more sports, and we're going to do that right after the break. Hey, make sure you go and check us out at fuelsportsnetwork.com. All right. Stay tuned. More of the show, of the A-Train Show, right after this. You're checking in on Fuel Sports Network and online at fuelsportsnetwork.com.
You aren't perfect. If you've ever struggled, if you've ever failed, if you want to get better, be better, and make our world better, this is the perfect brand for you. True Victory. Founded by U.S. military veterans, True Victory is a sportswear and streetwear brand dedicated to building everyday champions on and off the field. We're a cause. Our purpose is to transform lives and elevate humanity through the power and unity of sports, positive stories, and serving others. We're dedicated to the game, the grind, and the globe. But most importantly, we're dedicated to you. That's what it means to be. Always true.
Back on this edition of the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. Had to handle some business behind the scenes, so forgive me for that. I want to touch in a little bit on wrestling. I didn't get a chance to do it this past week. But what is going on in NXT? What is going on in AEW? All right. I checked in a little bit on Collision. Shout out to Mercedes Moné winning the AEW TBS title. MJF made his return back. What's up, Amanda? Hey, by the way, before I even get into all of that, we got some great programs coming up. Toasted Tavern is a part of the Fuel family. They got their first show coming up on June the 2nd. Make sure you tune in to that. 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, 8 in the East, 5 in the West. All right, so make sure you tune into that. I'll get into that shortly. I just want to make sure I get off my fuel stuff. 18 goes down tonight. A special edition of the X-Fan show goes down at 6 o'clock centrally, 7 East. Then you got the A-Team and then Girl Chat Sports at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 Central. Then Thursday, a brand new edition of The Bottom Line will go down, I think, at 8 o'clock. They got you from 8 to 10. And then Friday, Rough 'em Up is at 3 o'clock centrally. I'm just giving all these types of times, but make sure that you tune in to Fuel Sports Network and always go online to fuelsportsnetwork.com and find our shows and content. All right. Yeah, NXT first, and then I'm getting to Raw. Trick Williams has been a beat-up champion. He's been getting beat up every week. And then Ethan Page showed his face. And that's pretty surprising to me that this AEW guy has now walked over to WWE. And I'm going to be interested to see how well that's portrayed. He got to my man Trick Williams, man. This is my biggest hope for how they doing Trick Williams. I'm hoping that they're utilizing him enough where he can always chase for the NXT championship, even if he doesn't have the belt, you know. So, but he has it now. And I have this feeling that he's going to be taken off him soon. I hope not. He needs at least a good 6 months with that belt. Everything going on with Lash Legend and now Ethan Page into the mix, and him saying that he was the one that took out Lash Legend's mates. Okay, you got it. You got it, man. You got it. But one thing, like I said, NXT has been crazy over the last couple of weeks. And then with Jordan Grace showing up at NXT, that's my thing. Like, Trips has this relationship with TNA. Like, are we going to start seeing more cross promotion? And I think was it Jordan Grace versus Roxanne Perez. And if that's for the NXT women's title, and Roxanne loses, what does that mean for the company? Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I know it's going to be a great match. I get that. It's going to be a great match. Jordan Grace is no slouch, and she's the TNA Knockouts champion. Her showing up on NXT, good grief. I mean, she showcased her abilities during the Royal Rumble. So that means there's a good relationship. Does that also mean that Jordan Grace is coming to WWE too? Like, I'm starting to see her more than I'm starting to see anybody else in TNA. Like, how's that relationship working? That's always a crazy thing that I always wanted to know, how they be bringing in these people and there's no conflict of interest or something in contracts. So they talk behind the scenes, and we're going to have great wrestling shows for that. 10 Count for the love of the show. They'll make sure that they get all that conversation in, what's going on in the workings of wrestling. Also, this, can I say for 1 second that Dom did not even want that kiss? If you watch the video, you know how you prepare for a kiss? You use your lips. When you're doing this, you don't really want to kiss somebody. So Dom played that off very well. Liv Morgan was doing that because of her ruining Rhea Ripley. So her playing this heel-like character, trying to attach herself to a heel like Dom so they can mess up what's going on within the Judgment Day. Man, Rhea is maxing and relaxing right now. But I would love to see how they portray her character when she does return. Because those that remember, they were once teammates. They were tag team champions at one point. And the chaos, and that's the cool thing about WWE, because they know how to extend the story. And her involving herself with Dom, knowing that Rhea was partnered up with her during that time period, I love that type of stuff. That's long-term storytelling. Long-term storytelling. And that's what WWE should be about. Whole thing with Chad Gable. Now him turning on his own group. They still standing by him. And when that gets to that point, it's going to lead down a path of destruction. And now you got that. You got Gunther challenging what it looks like he's going to challenge. It just will make sense for him to challenge Damian Priest and get him at SummerSlam for that world title. I'm ready to see a world title run of Gunther. Damian got his shot. Damian has the belt. Now I want to see what Gunther looks like as champion. I would like for him to be an unstoppable champion. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. I will say, when I watched King and Queen of the Ring, Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul is an exceptional talent. Like, he really understands the business. A lot of people look at him as a PTP or part-time player. But when he's in the ring, he's not a slouch. Okay? He's not slouching. Like, I'm going to give him credit, because when he choreographs these matches and he's able to do these finishers, basically what he's doing is stolen finishers is what what that is. He was able to pull Crossroads on Cody. The way that he's able to learn all of that and train for this, like, I can't do nothing but praise that he is a natural heel. I don't think he ever needs to be a face in this company. He don't ever need to be a face in WWE. He can be that heel-like person, unless there's somebody else that comes on who has a YouTube channel that has more followers than he is, that wants a WWE match and is serious about it. That's the only way that changes. Logan Paul right now, him, Bad Bunny. If Bad Bunny chose, like, he wanted to just wrestle and not go out and rap, I think he could do it. Bad Bunny is great in the ring. And these days, you're starting to see more celebrities that want it. If you want it, you could do it. You know what I mean? I love seeing that type of action when they take it serious. Like if you just coming in just to have a spot or something, I don't want nothing to do with that. But if you're truly serious about the game, and Logan Paul is seriously about that life, then by all means, he has every right to be a part of it. I'm not going to deny that for him. And he's not going to, he don't care what I think, but at the same time, I like seeing that. Logan Paul is that character. When he first came in, of course, I was like, oh my God, we got another YouTube star wannabe in the WWE, but he properly trained for that. Like, I got to give him credit for it. As long as he don't do nothing weird or stupid from this point on, like he pretty much got the world at his shoulders. And at some point, you got to put the title around him. I know that sounded crazy. That sounded crazy, right? You got to put the title around Logan Paul. It's going to cause it's going to be a massive reaction. You talk about massive. Oh my goodness. I don't know if it's going to be a year down the road, 6 months down the road, maybe 2 years down the road, but you got to put that belt around him. I don't think it's going to provide a negative aspect to the company, because Logan Paul's incensed on the wrestling business, learning all of it. He's absorbing all of it. Now, I think what the other biggest shocker would be for me is if he would take everything that he learned and start his own wrestling promotion. That would be something, wouldn't it? But all the best to Logan Paul on this stuff that he's doing, man. He's doing a phenomenal job, man. Had a phenomenal match against Cody Rhodes, and big ups to Nia Jax at Queen of the Ring. You know, well deserving of that. You know, because you got to look at it if you looked at it from the whole outset, Bianca and Jade did not deserve to be Queen of the Ring. They already got belts. And so I would not be surprised if Nia Jax goes after Bayley for her championship. I saw a post last night from Adam Copeland saying that he has a major injury. And the first question I'm going to ask you is, sir, why'd you come back in the first place? You're not the Adam Copeland from 10 years ago. You're not the Adam Copeland from 20 years ago. I get it. You love the business. You love the business aspect of it. But sir, you're not getting any younger. You're 50 now, 50. And you're going to have to relinquish that TNT title that you had been barking up the tree to get. You're going to have to relinquish it, man, because ain't no way in the world. If I'm 50 and I'm still wrestling, dude, y'all looked at me like I was crazy. What you doing, dog? Listen, I understand there are folks locally that still do it because they love it. But is it worth it to go so hard each and every week, twice a week, 3 times a week? Is it worth it? That's all I can say to that. MJF returning. I'm gonna tell you this right now. It is ratchet wrestling. I love MJF, but I need the old MJF back. No, you can't do that because CM Punk killed all of that. Calling him a low rent budget Miz. You know, with the suits, the rings, except he didn't have the Hollywood. Well, he does now have a Hollywood film under his belt, being in the film The Iron Claw. So now he's a film star. But the MJF that came out at Double or Nothing was the gear was fine, But what he said was a lot of nothing. A lot of nothing. And now I have to see you do that in the ring. What you do it in the ring. I want you to see why you're the one of the best heels in the game today. And granted, he had that run in with Adam Cole and all that stuff. He made his shot at Vince McMahon, which was actually funny to me. That was the best thing to do, was take a shot at him instead of taking it at WWE, because they can come after you, and Triple H, which again, their lawyers will come after Tony Khan's lawyers. So Vince McMahon that's not truly in it, you go after him. And so I'm intrigued by that, but like what he said at Double or Nothing, it meant nothing to me. Like, he didn't move me. All he just did was scream and hollered and wanted the camera in his face, which is nothing new. But I want to see what type of heel run he'll go on, getting back into possibly getting into the world title picture. You know, he's not going to go for anything less. And if he does, Tony Khan is tripping. Like, straight up. He's going to have a whole lot more things to worry about than just the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. I'm going to take a final time out. When we come back, we'll talk some more. If anything that you want to discuss, you want to talk about, hey, the floor is yours, and we'll talk about it. All right. So coming up after this, you're checking in with the A Train Show right here on Fuel Sports Network.
Same great taste. Yes. Same great taste. Same great taste.
Woo. Back on this edition of the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. Let me talk a little baseball before we head out today. First off, of course, folks, make sure that you go and check out our wonderful sponsors that you have seen on this broadcast, especially McDougal Bats. Make sure that you, if you do get your bat, make sure you use the referral code at the bottom, Fuel Sports Network. It's the strongest wood bat ever made. All right. Got to touch a little bit on the W. those that hadn't known that Toronto has now been made official. In the press conference that happened, they're now part of the. I want a good name for this Toronto team. Listen, all right, we got Golden State Valkyries. All right, they'll be here next season, and if more teams start getting into this mix, it's time to get those divisions back in play. It's time because there's 12 teams now in the W. You can't do it now. You could do 6 and 6, but hey, whatever. But if there are more teams, if at least 4 more teams get into the mix, 16, you're gonna have to have 4 divisions or 2. Let's go ahead. Get Houston back into the mix. I'm ready. Houston needs to be part of it. And you know what? If there was a team that I would love to see come back into the mix, it would have to be Miami or Orlando. I know Orlando is now the Connecticut Sun, and Miami, they folded. So Miami would have to get into this picture. Yes. Oh, yeah. CB25 news coming out, and people are getting to share their experience at EA's preview day they had in Atlanta. Game sounds very promising. Sucks that you can't play Road to Glory as a high school senior. I just want to see what the game is going to look like. That's all I'm worried about when it comes to college football 25. Thanks, Mike, for that comment. But more in the W. Caitlin Clark had her first 30-point game. Did get her first win this on last week against the LA Sparks. And who can stop the Connecticut Sun right now? Who can really stop the Connecticut Sun sitting right now at 6-0? They have, and that's a team. And I don't know what it's going to mean when it gets to playoff time, but I would love to see them actually make a deep run in these playoffs. If they get to that point, if they stay on this path. One of my favorite players to watch is Dejonae Carrington, a great defender and a great shooter. And, of course, DeWanna Bonner, who has been in the league a long time, 15 years. And seeing Diana Taurasi still do her thing 20-plus years in the game, I mean, that's amazing. It's truly amazing. Also, make sure you're watching these games, man. Try and check them out as much as you can. If you ain't got League Pass, grab that, or always you can catch them online or on ESPN. I think CBS got them. Ion Television has got them this year. And wherever locally they are, if they're shown locally in your market, in the WNBA market, make sure you tune into that too. All right, let's see. Got about 10 minutes left, less than 10 minutes. I want to make sure I got the baseball stuff in too. Get all of that in one show today. The Philadelphia Phillies. Is this team for real? Like, is this Philadelphia Phillies team for real? This is a group that can get into October? I know they've done it before. They had to was it Houston they went against? No. Yeah, it was them. That 2022 World Series. Yeah, it was Philly. So they can get back to it. And they strong, man. And listen, I like Kyle Schwarber. But him and what's his name? Is it Joey Gallo? Those guys crack me up. Like, you got guys that can swing for the fences, can hit 40, 50 home runs, but hitting like $150, 200. But when they hit the ball a long way. And they hit the ball far. But Schwarber has been excellent. Bryce Harper's been doing a great job with this team. I think I'm more surprised that the Phillies are on the rise. And if I'm looking back from 2 seasons ago, and the Astros are going down, are declining. And Bose in Houston started seeing this decline the minute that Dusty Baker was gone. I'm just saying, you know, their run of making the not just the postseason, but the ALCS is on the line. And right now, as they're sitting at, I think it was third, and they're 7 games from 500, but yet they're 5.5 games back of first, with the Mariners leading the charge. And even the World Series champion Rangers aren't doing so hot. They're 3 games from 500, and they're 4.5 games back. It's hard to repeat as champions. It's hard to get back to the ALCS. It's hard to get back to the postseason. I'm hoping to see some. I would love to see some new teams get into this mix, because there's always room for new champions, just like in the NBA. I've always wanted to see somebody new getting into this mix. That's good. That's good for sports when there's always a new champion. Seattle has not reached the World Series yet. And imagine the city of Seattle getting in on that. Rudy asks, how about them Cardinals? Listen, at the beginning of the year, I ain't want nothing to do with them. I'm still a little skeptical about them now. Yes, they have won the last 10 of 13. And, you know, you're getting great hitting from Mason Wynn. I was just talking to a friend last night about it. How Mason Wynn has risen his stock and Jordan Walker is declining on his. And what we discussed was that who is there to really help him the way Mason Wynn has been helped with the Cardinals now, right? Starting pitching has done well. They're getting at least 6 to 7 innings per outing, giving a chance for the bullpen to not do as much. Offense is starting to click a little bit. I'm not there quite yet with this Cardinal team. Granted, they're sitting in third place, and they're about, a game under 500 right now. It is a whole lot better than how they started. They're getting timely hitting. Nolan Arenado has started hitting. Goldschmidt has started hitting. And they're getting wins. They're getting their wins at the right time. And I'm hoping if it does get to that point, that they don't fizzle out like they did 5 years ago in 2019. Had that great run in August, and then when September came across, they forgot how to play baseball to the point that it bleeded over in October, where they got swept by the Washington Nationals in the NLCS. So I think at this rate during the season for the Cardinals, if they can stay middle of the pack for most of the year and then turn up the heat just a little bit in the summer months, they can make a run. But that's the thing. If they get there, I'm going to be pissed because John Mozeliak could get away with it once again. He'll get away with it again. Like a lot of people, a lot of Cardinal fans like myself are pretty much done with John Mozeliak. Finished. I don't want to see him no more. Like somebody new can be a part of this mix now. And listen, I like Ollie Marmol, and for some reason, ever since Mother's Day, he got ejected. He got ejected a couple of times in a week span. One in Milwaukee, and then he got it again in St. Louis on Mother's Day. They've been playing ball. Maybe Ollie need to get ejected a few more times. It's working, you know, and you know how superstitious baseball players and teams can get, right? So they're doing well right now, and as the month is about to end and if they can get over 500 before months in, they may have something good going here. I'm looking forward to. Mike had talked about college football 25. I just want to see what the game looks like. That's it. Not too much into it. I know a lot of people are excited about it, but if you've seen in the past how when Xbox 360 first came out and they brought in Madden, everybody wasn't happy with it, right? Because it just looked weird. And I get it, PS5 has been out for a while now. So you would think when they bring out this new college football game, this will be the biggest and best experience that you've seen in a football game. And granted, there are some things that will not be included in the game, but you got to remember, this is a reboot from 11, 12 years now. So they want to make sure the basics are covered before they add more to the mix. And basically after that, you're going to get the same game each year. It never fails, right? Y'all still play Madden, right? Still play Madden? Oh, okay. All right. And looks like the Cardinals are doing some work right now as we speak in this afternoon game. But I'm about to wrap things up for this edition. And make sure you join in. We're gonna have some fun tonight at 6 o'clock for the X-Fan show, doing a Wednesday thing at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Check in with the A team as well at 7 Central, and then Girl Chat Sports at 9. And we're gonna have some fun here on Fuel Sports Network. All right, so for just a little while, this is Fuel Sports Network. See y'all later.